What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're here with Walter's World. Had to go here because a week from now, your boy will be in Europe for the first time ever. So always have to come back to people that helped me along this journey, like Mr. Walter here. And we got an interesting one here. 8 European cities destroyed by over-tourism. Now, I know when I get to Sweden and Denmark, I know that one of the main things that I've learned is be cautious of the tourist spots, that's going to be around. Don't fall for some of the gimmicks and different things like that. So, but it's going to be interesting to see the 8 European cities. So y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations.
Hey fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Dublin, Ireland. Hey fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Dublin, Ireland, and today we're going to be talking about is over-tourism in Europe. Look, there are destinations in Europe that are really overflowing with tourists to the point that the cities can't handle it, and I kind of wanted to talk about some of those really famous places that you want to visit when you come to Europe that you really will see an overabundance of tourists. I mean, they're kind of a victim of their own success because these are all fantastic places, but I just want you to have an idea of where the ones I've seen the most over-tourism, overall, okay? And probably one I need to talk about, and one you'll hear about in the news, is Venice, Italy. In Venice, you'll see there's so many more tourists that go there every year than people that live there. I mean, we're talking millions of visitors, but only like 40,000 inhabitants actually in the city. And it does get overrun, and especially when the cruise ships would come in, it became kind of more than the city could handle. And so they've limited where the cruise ships can go. And they've actually instituted a fee for coming into the town to kind of combat some of that over-tourism. But Venice is one of those places you're going to never be alone. No matter how many back alleys you go into, there'll be some other tourists that'll pop up there as well. Another place in Italy where I see a lot of over-tourism, a lot of really like just smash in like sardines kind of places, is on the Amalfi Coast. If you're going to Positano or Amalfi,
I think I've seen the Amalfi Coast. Dang, it was like a couple of years ago. Italy is a place I do want to visit. I feel like that's gonna be later on in life, but dang, it's crazy to see. Which I think for me is gonna be interesting to see what my culture shocks are gonna be once I get to Sweden and how many tourists I will see, because it's summertime.
Like sardines kind of places is on the Amalfi Coast. If you're going to Positano or Amalfi, you'll notice all the streets you're walking down, all the steps you're going up and down to go to the beaches and stuff are packed full of tourists from Italy, from around the world, from all over. But that's another place. That's why I tell people, look, if you don't want to get run over and smash like a sardine in Amalfi, maybe try Puglia, another part of Italy that might.
Now that's pretty. What is this? A cave?
Over and smash like a sardine in Amalfi, maybe try Puglia, another part of Italy. That might be another good place to go because it's beautiful, great food, and not as many tourists, okay? Another place that I see a lot of tourists go, and it really is kind of like on the over-tourism board, but they've done a really good job of managing it, though, is Barcelona, Spain. And in Barcelona, you have tourists that come all year round, so that's one of the things. It's got great stuff all the time, and there's tons of museums, there's beaches there's stuff for everybody, hence why everybody floods in. But the city's done a good job of kind of mitigating this by trying to get people to go out to other cities, like, go visit Verona when you're here, go head out to the beaches when you're here, have a day of culture when you're here. So that's kind of a nice
thing. The most packed places, usually the places you probably want to go, is going to be packed. That's why I knew going to Europe, I got to pick the stuff people don't really want to go. I got to pick I wouldn't even say unpopular, but the things that people don't really, what might be nice or cool to me may not be cool to them, type of thing.
But honestly, when you go to Barcelona, you are going to be with everybody when you're there. Also, that's probably one of the reasons why it's the pickpocket capital of Europe, because so many tourists get there and you're so smashed together, you don't notice when people are picking your pocket or maybe lifting your bag. Now, another city that is suffering from over-tourism but is doing a good job of handling it, I feel, is Paris. And Paris has been probably the most visited city in the world for years upon years upon years, because you have the culture, you have the arts, you have the sights, you have the people, you have the food. You have so much wonderful things there that people just love visiting, no matter what time of the year it is. But Paris has done a good job, especially with the metro system, because you're never more than 500 meters away from a metro stop. So you can stay outside the center and come in, so you can really visit and kind of be less central when you are there, which helps when you look at the over-tourism. However, when it is one of those things like the Louvre, like going to Musée d'Orsay, the Eiffel Tower, you will have long lines, you will have things. And I think that's something very important, not just in places that are over-tourism.
Which the Eiffel Tower,
Tower, you will
I don't
have
know.
long.
I think it'd still be cool to see. Y'all gotta let me know. Is it an overrated place? I think it's just one of those monuments. It's like you gotta, in your lifetime, it's nice to just see it. I feel like that's how it was with New York. When I first went to New York, I'm like, wow. Ready to go home.
Lines. You will have things. And I think that's something very important, not just in places that are over touristed, but anywhere you go in Europe, if you can pre-book your tickets, it's worth it. I'm here in Dublin, and you can go see the Book of Kells, but you pre-book your tickets so you know when you can go. Because sometimes things book out. If you want to go to the jail here, it books out. They only let it 28 days before, and boom, they sell it very quickly. And I guess that's another city I really need to talk about. Is Dublin is another city that's really got the over-tourism kind of thing. Everywhere you go, there are tons of people that are visiting here, going to school here, learning English here. And there's so many people here that it does get a little overrun. And that's one of the things. When you go to these places that are kind of affected by over-tourism, it kind of takes away from the overall experience of visiting the country. That's why I tell people, when you get frustrated with Venice because it doesn't feel like it's real Italy, or you're not getting the best food, or when you're frustrated with all the people in Dublin, I don't feel like I'm getting that super friendly all the time awesomeness of Ireland. It's because of all the tourists that are there. There's just not enough time and not enough energy and not enough space. So it's something to think about. Now, another place where you're really going to feel the impact of over-tourism is Dubrovnik, Croatia. I mean, when you go to Dubrovnik and there are tour buses there, and there are tour groups there, and there's cruise ships in the port, the city is completely packed. Whether you're walking down the cobbled streets or you're up on the city walls, you are all...
I didn't even know Croatia get packed like this. Dang, you never really just hear a bunch of people say they're visiting Croatia.
It's completely packed.
At least I haven't.
Walking down the cobbled streets or you're up on the city walls, you are always bombarded with more tourists. Now, the thing is, the city's gorgeous. But when the tourists and the cruise ships are there, it gets something that's almost hard to handle. That's why that's one of those places, if you're in the evening time, when everyone's gone back to their cruise ships and stuff, it actually is a wonderful place to be. And that's just it. All these cities are fantastic places to go. But if you can beat the crowds and not be there when it's super over touristy, it might be a good thing to look at, But if you want to go to another historic city when you are in, Croatia, when you don't want to be overrun by, in Dubrovnik, you can go down to Split, which is another beautiful city that you can go and visit.
Split?
Now, another city that's been suffering with over-tourism for a number of years and kind of put their foot down and said, we're tired of this, is Amsterdam. And in Amsterdam, they used to have the I Amsterdam sign right by the Rijksmuseum. They're like, nope, too many tourists here. And so they moved actually to another part of the city to get tourists to go to a different part of the city. And the thing is Amsterdam actually actively is not promoting to tourists.
Okay, I'm not saying I'm surprised, but I did... Because I've even started seeing people like just on my Instagram been to the Netherlands
to come there. Like they want specific tourists. They want general tourists. And so the city has done a lot of stuff to kind of make it more, not difficult, but more expensive or less convenient for everyday travelers to go versus targeted travelers. But regardless of what they do, Amsterdam still is full of tourists. And that's not just the red light district. It's also the museums. I mean, you can go see the Anne Frank house. You want to book it right when you book your tickets for Amsterdam. Book your tickets to the Anne Frank house to make sure you can get in. Also, your Rijksmuseum, time ticket for that as well. So something to kind of think about. Now, this past summer we spent in Greece, and there's actually two spots in Greece that really suffer from over-tourism. One is Athens, because people go there and they want to go to the Acropolis, and it's one of those days where it's almost so hot they can't have the Acropolis open in the afternoon. You'll see the waves of people at the Acropolis, and you'll see
and it looks so hot out there. I can only imagine. I wonder what the weather really feel like, because I see people in hoodies, tank tops,
people
and
going
all
through the Plaka. And it just really gets to be just too much sometimes. So one of the things I want to tell you, if you're in one of these places with the over-tourism, there's too much there and it's really freaking you out, take a break. Find a cafe, go get a drink, get yourself away from it, or do a day trip from some of these places. For example, Amsterdam. Instead of staying in Amsterdam, why don't you stay in Haarlem or Utrecht? If you're going to be in Athens, go visit Piraeus. Go visit the port where you're there. There's some stuff to see there, and that can kind of get you away from that insanity of the over-tourism. Yeah. And another place I think is important to mention for over-tourism is Santorini. The island with the white buildings and the blue domes in Greece. Yeah, I mean, that place is just completely ransacked in the summertime, like insane. Like, you can't just show up and get a place. You have to book everything beforehand, restaurants, doing things. I mean, it's insane. Dang. And that's the thing is people sometimes...
Because I always see that place, I mean, it don't look like super packed usually when I see clips and different
everything
things.
Beforehand, restaurants, doing things. I mean, it's
expectation
insane.
Versus reality.
And that's the thing is people sometimes don't realize that, yes, it's a beautiful place to go, but you do have to really prepare. That's why all these places I'm saying here, they're all worth going to. They're all fantastic. Yeah. But you have to realize with the over-tourism there, sometimes the locals are a bit done.
Got to start early.
Like, look, you've made it so it's too expensive for me to live here too. And so there is some animosity sometimes towards tourists in these places. Like here in Dublin, the lack of accommodation is an issue, not just for tourists, but for the locals. So when you're considering your destinations for going to Europe, maybe you think about the over-tourist kind of places that might be a little bit too many people for you, and maybe go visit those in the fall or the spring or the winter, so you're not like getting overwhelmed with the other tourists. So what are some places you've seen in Europe that are over-touristed? Let us know in the comments below so we can help other travelers.
Yeah, because I'm going to Sweden and Denmark, so I'm just glad they wasn't on the list. You know, I'm glad they wasn't on the list. At least getting over, overpopulate, over tourism type of thing. But no, shout out to Mr. Walter, man. I learned the do's and don'ts, all that. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. But yeah, I know just going to Sweden. I know my first day, I think I'm gonna just be walking around, kind of look, just exploring. Then the next day, my goal is to found a way you can get, at least I seen in Copenhagen, get a Copenhagen card, and it gives you like the little 24 hours to go to the little all the different things that you can do there and stuff like that. So that's my goal. Then I heard you can do that with Sweden as well, so gonna try that. But other than that, I definitely enjoyed this. But man, I mean, those are some places I want to visit later on in the future and stuff. But sometimes I know sometimes you got to wake up early, probably go. But then again, somebody thinking like you thinking, oh, let's beat the crowd. And then the crowd thinking, let's beat the crowd. So, but this was good. I enjoyed this. Y'all make sure y'all give this video a thumbs up on behalf of Mr. Walters World. But yeah, man, I'm going to have to go back to all my old videos, check out the do's and don'ts of Sweden and all that, do's and don'ts of Copenhagen, just so I can be refreshed, because my time is coming next week, man. It's going to be exciting. First time using my passport too, so amazing. But that's all I have. Y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.